forward, which that would be your cutting mode, and then reverse. Hi, I'm Mark Rickoff. I work for RDO Equipment Company. I'm a regional sales manager in the Vermeer division, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Vermeer pedestrian or walk-behind trenchers. In the pedestrian line, there's two small units, an RTX130, and this is the RTX250. So they just vary in size. The 130 is a little bit smaller, little less horsepower, and it can't dig as deep of a trench. These little trenchers are great for running power, maybe from a home to a shed or to the barn. You know, you put it in a new pole barn, doing irrigation, smaller projects like that. If you're going to do anything that has any amount of distance or a depth beyond 36 inches, you're going to need to jump up into more of our ride-on trencher product line. And they just continue to grow in size, weight, size, horsepower. But at the end of the day, they're all doing the same thing. They're putting a ditch in the ground so you can bury a product, be it irrigation line, cable, power, fiber optics, little gas line, water line, anything that you're gonna, from an infrastructure perspective, that you're gonna put underground. That's where these come into play. Got the heart of the machine right here. Here's your engine, drives your hydraulics. Your hydraulic pump then goes to a motor that is connected to your drive sprocket and chain. So we'll spend a minute, we'll talk about the chain a little bit. This one here is a combo chain. So it has a shark tooth and a cup cutter. So there's different teeth that you can put on a chain for different ground conditions. So if you're in really forgiving soil like sand, as we call it here in the upper Midwest, potato dirt, it's free flowing, you're gonna use more of the cup cutter because that has more of a scooping action. So it's almost like a spoon, and it cuts into that dirt and then lifts it out. Now, if you're into some cobble or some rock mixed with dirt, clay, that's where the combo comes in. So you've got this shark tooth. Reason for that name, to me anyways, it looks like a shark fin. And then this has a carbide tip on it, and it's gonna penetrate that rock and chip away at that rock a lot easier than what your cup cutter is. So then this does the bulk of the cutting, and then your cup comes along and scoops everything out. And then on the bottom end of the boom here, this being the boom, you have an auger. So as this thing is trenching, it's turning this direction. So it's pulling that material up out of the ground, it hits your auger, and then it puts that spoil pile off to the side of the machine. Depending on ground conditions, again, that's your biggest limiting factor of how deep and wide of a ditch you can dig. You're gonna be anywhere from that 18 to 36 inch depth range. Minimum width is gonna be about 4 inches, and then into that 6-8 inch range. But again, you're limited in mostly in weight because in order to really get the performance out of a trencher, you need weight to hold the machine down and keep the boom in the ditch doing the cutting. If you don't have enough weight, the boom is gonna bounce and it's not gonna cut. Different options on machines. This one has a restraint bar. So this is a safety mechanism. You want this on the machine at all times. You can get it with or without the crummer shoe. So what this does is when it's down in the ditch, this helps scrape, because your mode of travel is going to be that way. This is coming in behind and cleaning up all the crumbs in the bottom of the ditch. So if you need a real clean ditch on the bottom without a lot of crumbly foreign material, you would want this shoe on there. But it's not a required item. And that just stows for transport, just like that. From a serviceability standpoint, you can see with the engine, batteries right out in the open. You've got your oil dipstick here, so you're checking engine oil, hydraulic oil fill. You have your air cleaner as well. Another option for the machine, you can go tracks or tires. So it just depends on your location, especially like right now we're gonna be getting into spring. Ground gets really soft. A lot of times a tired option may not get exactly where you need to go. And you also lose attractive effort when you're cutting the ditch. So with rubber tires, you have a very small surface contact versus tracks. You can see you've got a larger footprint of the machine in contact with the ground. Some other things, you know, just real quick to point out on all Vermeer products, be it a pedestrian trencher or our 1,000 horsepower grinders, you're gonna find this decal. and it's going to have like your common components that you need. For example, here it covers all your filters that you need for the engine and the hydraulics. If you happen to lose a key, here's a part number for a key switch. You don't have to worry about finding the parts manual and looking things up. So you've got it. Now you just call the store, the guys and gals at the dealership, just give them the part number, they'll get the stuff pulled for you and get you back up and going. Different locations, different machines, but on the back end here, there's a grease chart. And all the machines also have the grease chart in the back. And it basically shows a left view and a right side view of the machine. And it shows you where the grease zerks are and how often they need to be greased. And that'll be, some machines have like every 4 hours, certain bearings need to be greased, 8 hours, some go a week, 50 hours, 100 hours, things like that. But this grease chart is great just from a quick glance, knowing what you have to do to maintain the machine so it keeps working for you. When this machine's working, you're working. This is the operator station. This machine has electric start, so there's your key switch. Got your throttle control. This one is your ground drive. You have your boom control up and down, and then you have your chain rotation forward and reverse. So, and the reason for reverse, a lot of times people ask, well, why has it got reverse? Sometimes what will happen is as you're trenching, if it gets just in the right position like a rock, it'll just get jammed up in the ditch, between the ditch and the chain, and it doesn't break, and now your chain is stuck. So now just hit reverse and hopefully it just spins back out of the way. This red handle here, that's the operator presence. When the machine's running, if I let go of this handle, the engine's gonna die, because what we don't want is the machine to run away on its own while the boom and while the chain is rotating. It can sit here and run by itself, just idling, but even if I just go to shift this to move and that handle's not depressed or closed like that, the engine's gonna stop. And all that is just safety for the operator and the environment they're working in. An emergency happens, you don't have to worry about finding the key switch. You can just let go and everything stops. People ask about these handles, and you hear comments about these little pedestrian trenchers are so hard to operate. 10 years back or better, there wasn't a system on these little trenchers like Vermeer has that's called VZ steer. And it rhymes with easy, right? VZ steer, it's an easy steer, and it really is that easy to steer. When you're trenching and the boom's in the ground, you can move those handles that easy and the machine's gonna turn in a direction that you pull. Used to be, it wasn't that easy, and you had to use a lot of weight. You had to throw your body weight into the handles to get it to move, and it didn't steer near as quick or as easy until Vermeer came up with this design. Unleaded, they're gas engines on these two smaller pedestrian trenchers. You got your fuel tank here with the ever popular cup holder. This is a removable backfill blade. So if you can envision, as I was talking before, as this is trenching, the material coming out of the ground is being deposited on the side of the machine. So now you go in and you lay your product. Now you got to get all that material back into your trench. If you have this little optional blade, that just plugs in. It works like a receiver hitch on a car or a truck for towing. You just put this end, that block, into this box right here on the trencher boom, or the boom frame, I should say. And then you can angle it. It's a manual pin where you can have it straight or angled to the side. All you do is pull this pin here and you can see the different holes to move the angles. And then you can come back along that open trench and start to push that material back into the ditch. So that's a great little feature, especially if you're doing a lot of trenching with this machine every day. And another customer base that I didn't mention is rental stores. You'll see a lot of these in the rental stores, especially for people like myself, the weekend warrior, right? We want to tackle a lot of this stuff ourselves. So the rental stores carry a lot of these in their fleets. So why buy from RDO Equipment? 3 easy reasons. 1 is our parts stocking, 2 is our field technicians, and 3 is our remote tech support, where you have a phone number to call for remote support and talk to a trained technician. Okay, so now we're gonna fire it up. So again, here's our throttle. The operator control, as I mentioned, if I go to move this, the engine's gonna stall out, and I'm doing this intentionally, just like that. Now I depress the handle and I do the same function, and you can see how easy it is to steer. That's that VZ steering. Your boom up and down. Forward, which that would be your cutting mode, and then reverse. And I'm going to shut it off here quick, and I'll just quick put this in here. And what you'll see, or as you can see, is the blade is lower than the boom. So you're never going to be able to trench while that's installed. And I'm just going to leave it at the setting that it's at. I'll start it back up, and then I'll just kind of scrape over what was already cut there. If you have any additional questions for us, feel free to reach out to your RDO sales representative. Visit us on our website at rdoequipment.com, or feel free to call us at any of our RDO dealerships in your area.